Another beautiful Tuesday here, eastern Oklahoma. And I got the deer running heavy back here today. I can hear them running all through there. It's hard to see them, but you can hear the commotion. So, hell, the other night I came through here and I had probably 30 deer in my backyard. Just, I don't know what the deal is, but they've been hanging out back here. So, and they've been grazing off my yard. I guess my yard's delicious. I don't know. Now, today's video, I want to talk about something that I think a lot of people think they want to do when they get older is truck driving. Yeah, me and my wife, we actually talked about it. We figured later on in life when our kids move off, which they have, and we thought we might hit the road and just drive a truck and see the United States. We've been a lot of places. We traveled a lot when with the kids, but we thought it would be a lot of fun. So, but before, my wife's still working. So, anyways, but I want to say probably 3 or 4 years ago, I decided that I was going to be a fleet manager for a company called Maverick Transportation. And I thought, I can get the insight on truck driving and what they go through. And I can tell you, after being a fleet manager for that year, maybe I did a year and a half, I want no part of truck driving whatsoever. So it's something you need to think about. Probably one of the biggest complaints is when the drivers are driving, they're pushed kind of hard to get their loads delivered. So even though you're driving through one state or another, you don't have time to really see the scenery. The main vein is Interstate 40, so you're running up and down Interstate 40. There's other ones too, Highway 59, whatever's going up north or south. So it's kind of a misconception to think that you're going to drive around and relax and see the scenery. You're not. You've got somebody on the radio hollering at you. This load has to be delivered within a certain window. And the truck companies, they're trying to make money so that as soon as you get unloaded, then you're going to get reloaded somewhere and go back the other way. And a lot of things too is the drivers that I saw, they'll show up at a location and that plant might be shut down for 2 or 3 days. The driver is literally stuck with that load, can't do anything until that company decides to come back to work and unload him. And I've had some really upset drivers. There's nothing you can do about it. Of course, they're getting paid by the mile too, so they're cruising by the mile and or by the load, but mostly by the mile. So when they're stuck somewhere, they get pretty upset about it, and I don't blame them one little bit. I felt sorry for them. I had a big heart for them because I know that if I was in that situation, that's what I'd be upset too. And I really could. I had no advice for them. But that happens quite a bit. Also, the government has you so regulated with your time that you constantly have to pull over and stop. Sometimes you got to get your 72-hour reset. You're stuck on the side of the road or a rest area for a couple of days at a time. And the drivers that would call me would just be so upset about it, depressed. Now, if you have a double team where you both have your CDL, you can kind of get around that and keep the truck rolling. As long as you're doing it legally. If you do it illegally, they're going to catch you. DOT will pull you over. And then, just the problems that the drivers had with the lane changing, I think, was the most accidents we had. The drivers would be going down the road, look in the mirror, the lane change, they'll hit a car. That was the most common accident that we had. A lot of times, too, the drivers would go back into a dock and not realizing that the company would actually put a chain around one of their pockets because of their flatbed trailer, and they would chain the pocket, I guess, to keep the trailer from moving. I'm not sure what, maybe safety. And they would unload the trailer, and the driver would forget to do his walk around before he leaves, and they would take off and rip the pockets out of the truck. It was it was eye-opening. Let's just put it that way. What I've seen with the drivers and what they went through, it takes a special person to drive a truck, and you got to have a lot of respect for a truck driver. When I was a fleet manager, I'd almost have to play like a Dr. Phil type thing because the drivers would be mentally upset. They would be, they're on the road, so their spouse might be running around on them. You get that call, or you get the call, hey, my dog died. I got to get home. I've got to bury my dog. Life gets in their way too. So they're on the road, and they might live in Texas and be up in Michigan, and they're trying to get back home, and they've got this load on their truck. So you're also confined to that truck. There's literally whatever happens with you, you're stuck in that truck. And I had a driver one time call me up and just went berserk on that subject. He's just, me in this truck, me in this truck. That's all there ever is, just me in this truck. And I didn't really know what to say to him other than, man, I feel for you. If that's not for you, you're just going to have to find another job. And so it's almost a single man's job or a married couple's job if that's what you're going to do. But don't expect to really get to enjoy the country. Now, some people just like driving, and that's fine. But that's what you're going to do. You're going to drive from one point to the next. Um, the stop offs, you're not really going to do them because almost every load is pressing. So I was a fleet manager for Maverick Transportation. Um, their headquarters is located in Little Rock, Arkansas. Uh, you know, it's a good company to work for. I really do think so. Um, they train all their drivers. They actually put them up. They have a hotel that's on their property that they put their drivers in. They go them through like a 30-day course of showing how to properly strap loads down. I think they go the extra step. Also, if you want to be an owner operator, you can do that. They will actually sell you the truck that you're driving, but things change. You're no longer driving by the mile. You're going to be driving for the load, whatever the load pays. And so you're going to have a truck payment, and then you're gonna have to pay for your own fuel, your tires. So you got a lot of expense out of that. I don't remember what the company takes. They might take 10%. So if a load was to pay say $1,500 to go from point A to point B, the Maverick would get $150, and you would get the rest of that. So you get the 1350 or whatever it is, 1450, 1350, whatever the math is on it. But you're responsible for your own fuel. And any maintenance that the truck needs is out of your pocket. Also, you've got a truck payment too, and them truck payments aren't cheap. I think they're charging you probably $250, $300 a week, but you're buying that truck, and once that truck is paid for, that is your truck. So if you want to be an owner operator, they call them IC drivers. That's kind of a nice thing to do, really. You're more responsible for your loads. And you make the money to make that truck payment too. So if you're somebody who has nothing and you're wanting to get ahead and you're wanting to own your own truck, look into Maverick Transportation. I strongly recommend it. They'll help you get on your feet. You can make some money. But like I said, all maintenance expenses are on you, or the fuel is on you. And then of course they offer you loads. You can turn them down. You don't have to take them. But then again, you get the truck payment coming out, so you're gonna have to roll. You can't sit around. So that's one avenue you can do. You can own or operate your truck. At some point, the truck's paid off, and you can still drive. You won't have that truck payment, but you will have your maintenance. I thought that was a pretty cool little thing to do. So yeah, me and my wife, we talked about doing that after being a fleet manager and seeing what the drivers go through. I decided we're not doing that. It can be very stressful actually. And they've got so many rules. Like I said, when you can only drive for so long. You've got to park overnight. You can't move that truck either. When you run out of time, the DOT has you regulated. When you run out of time, wherever that truck is where you're stopped, and you might be stopped there for 3 days. So when you do your reset, depending on the hours they let you drive, which is for safety reasons, and that's probably a good thing. You got to keep the drivers fresh. You don't want drivers out there just wore out, swerving all over the road and killing people. So that's something you want to consider. So personally, I want nothing to do with it. after seeing what they go through. I want nothing to do with it. You really got to look into it. It sounds great. Sounds like, hey, I can drive to Washington and I can take a tour, stop off and see this. Very minimal, if you can do that at all. Very minimal. As soon as your truck is unloaded, they've got another load where you've got to go pick up. They've already got your life planned for you 2 or 3 weeks in advance. So time to yourself, you get time off obviously, but as far as being on the road and being to see the scenery, that's not going to happen really. Not, I mean, very seldom is it going to happen. Like I said, when you get unloaded, you're going to your next stop. Somebody's sitting behind a computer already getting you, looking at your hours, what you can drive. And so because your drive time is regulated, they know exactly when you get unloaded that you can make it from here to here. So if you want to go see the ocean, you didn't have time because your drive time is over. So you have enough time to get unloaded, then drive to your next pickup and get loaded, and then you're parked. And you're probably parked there wherever you get loaded. So it's not like you have a lot of freedom. So strongly recommend looking into something like that before you want to do it. If if your wife or your partner or whatever has their CDL, you probably have a little bit more time, a little bit more freedom. But if that's not the case, you're pretty much on a tight schedule and you're stuck. And you're stuck cruising. When you're driving by the mile, the company also is forking that fuel out. So they don't want you driving. They have a slight leeway, but you're not going to go too far off your path. So it's going to be from one highway to the next. And that is all you're going to see. And if you're on the highway all the time, there's really not a lot to see but highway. So it's a pretty tough life. My hat's off to any truck drivers out there because, man, I did not realize what they went through until I was a fleet manager. So Maverick gave me 40 drivers to take care of and to watch. Some of them the motto was to get all we can out of a driver. So we were going to push them to their limits and we're going to run them hard. We're going to get everything we can out of them. So that's something you need to think of. You're actually going to get ran hard and they're trying to get everything they can out of you. So there's no time for yourself. If you do the owner operator thing, it's probably the better route to go. You can turn loads down. You're running at your pace. You could probably see more things, but you've got a truck payment, fuel payment, maintenance, maybe even insurance. I don't know what it does. So you're going to have to be moving, and you're going to want to get those loads to pay for your truck and stuff. But it's something to consider. So I thought I'd bring that up. It's kind of a short video. I don't know. Like I said, I want nothing to do with it after that. That's just, to me, that's just a lot more stress. It's just not for me. So after talking to my wife about it and stuff, we're not going to do it. But then that might be for you if highway is what you want to see, because that's all you're going to see for the most part in almost every instance. I've had drivers, they get stuck at a Love's gas station because they're out of time to drive. The trucks have a radar on them, so they know when them trucks are moving. So you can't just, hey, I'm going to run over here and see this, run over, see that. Not going to happen. So if you're stuck at a Love's gas station and you're out of drive time, you could probably call a cab or maybe rent a vehicle or something and drive around. But as far as that truck goes, it's not moving until your time is relapsed. So, yeah, you're gonna have to plan that. That would be something out of your own pocket to run around and enjoy yourself for a couple days. But those resets happen all the time, very quick. The truck can only go so far. The truck is done. At that point, you're either sitting in a hotel or sleeping in your truck. And that's another thing too. The trucks are equipped with air conditioning and heater to stay overnight, to sleep in those trucks. They're not exactly comfortable. And if you have two people in there, definitely not comfortable. It's manageable, but it's not comfortable. So you're basically living in a vehicle. Anyways, quick video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to me. I'll talk some more, run my mouth some more about things.